Welcome to the first match of Week 6 of Season 6 of Scrim Zone. It is between Spectres and New York Nutbusters. I believe this is the only team that Spectres has yet to play. Should make for a pretty exciting series. So far, no one's been able to take down Spectres. If they are able to complete the 5-0 in their own first round robin, I believe that puts them in a pretty high tier of teams to be able to do such a thing. I'm not entirely sure in the past which teams have actually been able to do a clean single round robin against other teams. I believe it has been a bit scarce, or I'm just lying, and it's not very common, but oh well. Yeah, I think actually the first place team in the regular season is usually able to do that. But anyway, would still be cool for Spectres if they're able to start off strong. 6-0 start is really good, obviously, and showing that they're able to beat every team would be a very good accomplishment. So we'll see if Spectres is able to do that, but I think the bigger thing to watch here is New York Nutbusters going to be able to take them down. NYNB has looked very good in some of their matches. Some of their rosters do seem a little bit stronger than others, but overall they're a pretty solid team, and they can pull a lot of surprises out of draft, which is something that you can't really shake your head at. I feel like they're very good at pulling out cool stuff, and they have a lot of one-tricks on their team, which are pretty hard to ban out, and it's not like these one-tricks aren't able or they are able to play other champions, which I think is really important. So you get to draw draft resources, and then you also are still able to get stuff done on other picks. I don't expect to see Dominic's Morgana banned. I feel like a lot of people just tend to leave it up, but I do think it could be a good ban for Spectres, just because Mythic is a bit of a really good engaged champion player. Morgana does typically tend to counter them out, so. Alright, let's go hop in and look at some of this stuff. I am going to hop in Casting Futon if anyone would like to help out with the co-cast. Caesarius is our first featured player. I think this makes a lot of sense. He is a very solid player for this team, making a lot of impact in the jungle this season. Lilia, Ivern, and Diana are the jungle champions that I'd personally watch out for him. Really impressive 59% win rate. He's played 28 different champions over 56 games, so approximately a new champion every other game, which is really impressive. And that 3.71 KD is also really impressive. Moving over to Mike on the other team. So I guess our featured lane is probably going to be mid, but the featured jungle matchup is also pretty interesting. I might see if we can pull up some stats on that as well. Mike has played a lot of different jungle champions. Viego, Kindred, Rengar, Lee Sin, and Aatrox are his most played. All of those in the jungle. You might not expect it from the Trox, but his jungle Trox is pretty good. An even better win rate at 61.4%, but a little less of a diverse champion pool. He does have 4 more champions, but over a lot larger sample size of games. And I think just on the nature of champs he plays, his KD is going to be a little worse just because the assassins are more likely to trade. But yeah, no, I think this should be a pretty exciting matchup as well. Champions to watch overall, we do have the Ivern from Caesarius. Avery's Yasuo is still undefeated in the top lane. Gruer and Sarver's also undefeated on Echo and Kaisa. And Mythic's Nautilus continues to be his best champion, 14-2. The overall record, absolutely disgusting. And all these players have really high KDAs on their champions. We look to the other side. Russ's Ornn, 4.65 on Ornn is actually crazy over 8 games. And then Mike, 10 games on Viego, very impressive stat line, 8-2. Dave's Kiana showing up. Katarina is another champion to consider. They're both pretty similar play styles, and he's really good hands-wise on both of them. Will's Twitch is 14-7, really impressive win-loss there with a 2.6 KD. And Dominic with the Morgana 2-5. Looking over here, our key matchup is Brewer versus Dave. They've actually only played against each other once. I believe that Cassiopeia was probably an attempt at a counterpick into the Katarina, which ultimately just did not work out, it seems. Yeah, I believe we still have about 4 minutes until draft, so just going to go over some more stuff that I think is interesting before we really kick into it. Let's see if we can't get... There we go. Okay, this is the one to watch. So Zarius is actually 1-1 in the matchup, but has a 6 KDA compared to only the 1.3 for Mike. I think, again, this is just a factor of the champions that Zarius has been playing. They're just tanks, they're enchanters, they're more supportive for his team, whereas Mike likes to play the carries, which are able to get focused down a bit faster in the team fights, which makes it a bit harder.
Would you like a co-caster?
Oh, yes, please, Noam. What are your thoughts going into this game?
It's Spectres against Nutbusters, right?
It is.
I think the key matchup nailed it. I think whoever performs better will set the pace for their
Which one?
team.
I showed 2.
The jungle one.
Okay.
I think both Brewer and Dave have shown that even if they fall behind, they're capable of like bringing it back and carrying their team. But I think between Mike and Logan, it's like super snowbally, especially given that Mike plays such carry champs. Like if he gets ahead, it's a little bit Jover. But Caesarius has also shown that he is capable of like heavily affecting game states. So,
yeah, so I guess
I'm excited to see this.
Another way to look at it could just be, it doesn't necessarily mean that Caesarius needs to get ahead early, but it could just be that Caesarius needs to not fall too far behind.
Right.
Especially with that carry style that we're seeing from Mike a lot, I think just being able to stay even with him and not let Mike get snowballing could just be enough to secure a good game state for the Spectres. What are we really looking for draft here? I think there's a lot that you're able to do for both of these teams. I think banning Lilia, Nautilus, and Echo is probably the really safe way to go into Spectres. They've shown that they're super proficient on all those champions.
Yep.
And New York Nutbusters, you obviously have Rengar, Katarina, and Twitch that usually fill the same niche of just these players really good on these champions. Might as well take them out. Do you think we're going to see too much deviation from that? I guess we're getting into draft now, but
this iteration of Nutbusters is a lot easier to ban against, just because you don't have like that flexibility that you might have with Adam playing top.
Yeah. I mean, in their previous series, Dominic actually played 2 different roles, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily true.
That's definitely true. I also think with Russ, you need to seriously consider banning the Ornn, but I think right now we'll see the 3 bans he listed for each side.
Yeah, I mean, they're sticking to it so far. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some people say you can just leave the Rengar up, but they're not messing around. They don't want to risk it. Yep, the same 3 that I called for Spectres, and does New York Nutbusters stick to it? Is Nautilus being taken away? This is the only one I'm unsure of. Syndra would be what I'd expect. Yasuo could be decent as well. It's really good into Ornn, actually, so if they are looking to blind Ornn, that Yasuo needs to be taken off the table. It just kind of bodies him in the lane, and you can win wall Ornn ulti, which is ludicrous. But Darius is actually what we're seeing banned instead, and first pick LeBlanc is coming out. I'm expecting this to be 80 LeBlanc top. I don't know if it's necessarily better, but that seems like the type of shit.
You guys are actually so cringe.
They're just trying to have fun. I respect
Meta slaves, holy.
Nah, you're just
I'm curious to see what
it's a goofy it's a goofy pick.
All right, I think that's for sure dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. If you have a player who's likely just going to play the same champion no matter what, picking it early in drafts is fine. This doesn't really give the other team any more info. I also feel like
You
this Morgana actually goes really well into Mythic's entire champion pool that we've seen so far from him. I think the Karma could be a good angle. So if we're looking to see another enchanter from Mythic come out, this could be the spot. I like that pairing way better than I like Zion work, but
agreed.
still think there could
Milio.
be stronger lanes.
They're
Milio
bringing
Lucian
out
coming out.
Lucian Milio.
Yeah, they're taking a page from the Andromeda draft book here. And the cleanse is just really good to have against that Morgana. We are seeing an enchanter come out from Mythic, so I'm not. I feel like he's not been as consistent on those in the past, but I'm very excited to see his chance for redemption here. The Ornn is locked in here. Fiora's banned. I think we're probably going to see Jax also, but either Jax or Yasuo is going to get through. But I honestly just think this is going to be LeBlanc top, but it could be going to either lane.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a flex. Like, I'm sure Greer can play it, but I think given what we know about Avery and his top lane tendencies, AD LeBlanc would not surprise us at all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, looking at a New York Nutbuster spot lane, I know Will has a little bit of a history of struggling on the Caitlyn, but I really do think it would have just been a solid pick here. Giving yourself some just free prio on the bot lane, because Russ, Mike, and Dave are almost guaranteed to scale up to be a pretty solid part of the team comp, and I think just playing off that free synergy you get with those two champions could be smart. Ivern is banned away, which is the second of Cesarius' top champions, so I'm probably just expecting to see the Diana here. It's just something he's been comfortable on, but they might just try and hold counter into Mike.
Mason from chat real quick saying this could be a Lucian and LeBlanc flex for Sarverus.
If it's LeBlanc
Which
bot lane,
would
I
be
might
pretty
tear
interesting.
my eyes out. That it
I've done
either
it before.
it either
It's actually
wins
not that
and
bad.
I'm sad that it wins, or it loses and it's painful that they did it. But
X is a really good pick here into RD2 champs that have dashes.
yeah, I know that Dave's been spamming it in solo queue a bit. I don't think the champion is very good overall, but it is good here. And they pick another champion with a dash into it. We are seeing the Riven come out. So what I said was completely wrong. Jax and Yasuo are both up, and Avery was not the one playing LeBlanc. So oops, bad call on my part. The Fiddlesticks pick
Mason
could be
meant
really fun
LeBlanc
here.
as a flex, and Sarverus on Lucian is hype.
Okay. I agree with that take from Mason way more.
Yeah.
I don't
mean,
know
that
what you were
makes way more
smoking.
sense. But I also would not be surprised,
Yeah.
given what they've done in their game twos.
Yeah, Briar's
Even
being
though this is
hovered.
game
They
one.
know that this can't be picked. I assume this is not the first time that they've hovered this champion. The Fiddlesticks hover is such a tease. That would have been so fun to watch. Sarius already proficient on these AP junglers, so another one would be fun. And Mike is actually picking the Udyr here. I think previously we'd kind of poked fun at teams that were banning the Udyr against Mike, but maybe there is some validity to it if he is willing to pick it. But I think it just pairs up really well. It's free plasma for Kai'Sa. She can just immediately dive off of it, and you lock people down for Vex ulti. I think it's genuinely just a really good pick here. I would like to see something more aggressive from Mike, but it actually justifies the Kai'Sa pick, which I think without this Udyr pick, I think you're struggling to have a full explanation for it. But
It sticks with their color themes for the most part, so
okay, LS.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, they're blue, purple, and red. Those are all very similar colors. Same side of the color wheel. And then you have Spectres over there. You got
I don't
like
actually remember the color
purple,
wheel.
red, green, like brown and gray, green again. Like I don't know. Riven and Milio have the same color splash art, but like you know.
The thrilling analysis you came here to hear.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it all comes down to the skinergy, right? Whichever team has the more skins of the same theme is ultimately going to win. I think this is just a super ego-heavy draft from Spectres. I think they're just saying that we can out-hands you in every single role, and I think it's going to come down to the wire and see if that's correct or not. The LeBlanc, I actually do want to see just a full AP build from that. Maybe not even the Shiv, just because you don't really have any AP sources anywhere else, and with the Udyr and Ornn, that could really bite you. Both of those champions can itemize armor really easily.
It could theoretically be like first strike demonic first Maokai.
Yeah, but even then, like I still don't want that to be solo AP. I think it's a little rough.
Oh no, I for sure agree with you. Like I'm saying, if you do go static shiv for the wave clear and then transition into AP afterwards, I think it would be fine if Maokai goes AP.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think a lot of more people should be going like a early AP for the Maokai. I think it's just really good. If you are face checking these bushes, especially with like, or actually, Udyr is not necessarily the best champion to play it into because he's really easily able to heal it back up. But Ornn just taking these chunks to the face is going to be really annoying for him because he just has so much health, and having a percent health chunk on him would be good. Actually, both teams have made a lobby, so I'm now caught in the middle.
Whichever team you pick, you will be denounced as biased by the other one.
Well, I'm picking the one that invited me first.
Close enough.
I don't know. Whatever. They can figure it out themselves. Anyway, I think this game should be pretty exciting. I'm happy with the drafts we have. I think New York Nutbusters is actually doing a pretty, like, I don't know if vanilla is the right word, but this is like way closer to meta than they normally pick. So it's kind of interesting to see if this is going to be something that's good for them or bad for them. I think one of their strengths is they're able to pull out crazy stuff in draft, and I think often that gives them advantage because a lot of people just don't know how to play around it. But I do think it is a bit harder to do with Adam, who can just play all these crazy range tops and stuff like that really sets you off guard. But obviously, this is a much more on-meta pick for Dave. Not that Vex is in the meta right now, because she's not very good, but it definitely is a champion that is meta more often, if that makes sense.
It is also a champion that is played mid in general.
This is true. But I feel like normally when he plays mid champions. He just plays like assassins and stuff that we don't see as much.
I will remind you of his Alistar mid.
Oh, Rakan would be the...
That one too. AP Briar mid. I think I broke Dean.
Sorry, their client is a mess. I don't think he did that this season, though. I mean, he's played it, but not recently. Not in the context of New York Nutbusters.
I am really excited to see what kind of like wacky Briar builds we can get from these teams once it's unlocked.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that champion unlocks very soon. Next patch hits in a few days, so I believe we might be able to see some of it soon. Mason says full ego draft has Maokai. Okay, 4 out of 5 ego draft, Mason. My apologies. But I don't know. I think if Spectres fails the hand check, New York Nutbusters like just hard outscales them. They have 3 champions on their team that fall off super hard. So if they don't really get the snowball rolling, I think it is going to be a little bit rough for them. Luckily, this is where Spectres shines. Their skirmishes are just really good. That's where they're able to win most of their games. If they're ever able to find these fights where it's not a full 5-on-5 around objectives, they usually just end up winning them unless it is completely on the other team's terms. So Nutbusters just has to not engage at all and just try and get farmed up on Ornn, Kai'Sa, Vex, which is a really good win condition. Or they just need to play well. I think it is easy to win these in a situation that might seem like it's favored for Spectres, just because Ornn, Vex, and Kai'Sa all have the ability to influence fights from extremely long range, which could skew how the fight is appearing to go.
I think whoever plays around Maokai versus Ornn cooldowns better will just win the skirmishes.
That's fair, but I feel like Morgana also has this black shield. If she just puts it on someone, they can walk through a few of the routes and just kind of take them out of the fight. I think Maokai ulti is less of a play around its cooldown and more play around it. Just because of that long range like re-engage you have with Vex and Kai'Sa, I just think they should be able to position around it well. And I think if they don't, then they're in a lot of trouble, obviously. Yep. These champ matchups so far, we've had a Riven roll in Ornn. We've had Maokai be very favored in this Udyr matchup in the past. I'm not sure if that's how it normally goes, or it's just how it's gone in this server. And then Kaisa and Lucian seem pretty even, and the rest of these matchups we haven't seen. I'd expect Vex and Milio to come out on top of these matchups that we haven't seen, but I feel like the Kaisa Lucian is probably just an actual gentleman's matchup. I don't think either of those champs is super favored. Looking at past performance, though, Avery, I believe, is second highest mastery is the Riven. I think his highest is the Yasuo, but he is 2 and 3 on it. He doesn't have any sort of crazy win rate on it, but has still been performing well. Russ 7 and 3 on Ornn, although 2 of those wins were not in top lane. I believe one of them was mid. I honestly don't know where the last one would be if it's not also mid. Mike and Cesarius both pretty even win-loss. Cesarius has a very impressive KD. Will, I believe Kai's his most played champion. I think Twitch gets banned out too much. So I'm really happy to see him on it. I think it's a really good comfort champion for Will, and then obviously same goes for Dominic. And then Sarvis and Mythic have both played these champions before to a level of success. So I'm excited to see if they're able to do well again in this game. But the interesting thing to me is that both of these mid laners are first timing these champions in the server. I believe both of them have played them a decent chunk in solo queue, but obviously we do not have records of them playing them in this server, so it's hard to tell what their performance is in that context.
Just a real quick aside. I looked up the Udyr Maokai matchup numbers, and it looks like Maokai on the current patch has a slightly higher win rate in the matchup at 50.48%.
Gotcha. What are their win rates not in the context of the matchup?
Let's find out. Udyr's most common build is around 52, and Maokai is 50. 49.95.
Interesting. So yeah, I think that would indicate that it is Maokai favored, but I'm not entirely sure. Looking at these matchups, we already saw the mid and jungle matchups, but Starvis does have a very good record into Will, so I think Will's probably the one who has to come into this match with a grudge and try to flip the script, but we should be getting into the game any second now. It's almost loaded in.
How is it possible that Will has played 4 games into Sarverus but won one of them? I guess one of them role swapped, but
yeah, I mean, I think that would
weird.
have to be it. Or it's just, like, yeah, I mean, I guess that would have to be it. I don't know. I don't really think about it too much. If you look at gold stats, which I don't necessarily like doing, but I think it fits the context of the server better, Udyr is supposed to absolutely booty clap Maokai.
Interesting.
So that, I think, just makes more sense anyway, because I feel like Udyr generally tools better into tanks. Just because he's able to kind of burst him down, and they usually don't have any threat on him. But that's my not super knowledgeable read on the game. Brewer and Will, both based using the correct skin for their champions. Everyone else is, they can do whatever. Sarvis has a lot of mastery on the solution. I forgot that it was so high up on the list for him. Obviously, same for Avery, but I think we have a lot of comfort around the board for some of these players, but obviously not for everybody, because we do have some of these first times, as we discussed.
I'm gonna pray that the Discord stream gets better so I can differentiate between the champs.
Well, My internet is working
Mason,
really
by the
well,
way,
so I'm gonna blame you. I'm sorry.
I am on 800 megabits a second.
I'm still gonna blame you.
Mason,
I'm sorry.
that's fine. Mason is saying if Maokai fails level 3 gank, Udyr should win.
Gotcha. So in the isolated one-on-one, that means Udyr is basically just winning, unless Maokai is able to accelerate the game, which I guess that makes sense. So that would also explain why it's much for Udyr favored in lower elo, because, you know, Ruin does get over the wall here. I'm not sure if there's going to be a play made, but she isn't caught out on vision. Drops that word, but now they do spot her, but they might not know about the vision, but should be pretty easy to figure out.
Maokai has elected to go first strike this game.
Nice. So that actually means that there's a lot less tank in this comp that there could have been. They went from having like one tank to one like 3/4 of a tank. I feel like the front to back for New York Nutbusters is a lot stronger, which we already kind of knew going into it. I think Maokai itemizing for the extra damage does fit into their win conditions a little bit better. Just makes it harder to mitigate the late game if it doesn't go well for them. Some trades coming out here. Avery actually gets a lot of damage here. Does not have the Ignite. If he did, he probably could have gone for the Q3. Sarvis gets a huge burst of damage down onto Morgana. Lots of pings coming out onto the Udyr as he is starting up his red buff.
Yeah, both top and bot for Spectres got that level 2 power spike first, and they're leveraging it to build up a health lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is like what we need to see from Spectres, though. I wouldn't take this as Spectres is necessarily favored because of this. This just is what their comp needs to do. They drafted exactly for this to happen. I believe that was a -1 from Zarvers there. Dave, however, not having that problem.
Is currently out farming the LeBlanc, but I think that's expected in this matchup.
Yeah, LeBlanc is just much harder to farm on. There is a trade coming out here. LeBlanc passive is burned. Really good fighting done by Dave there.
Fighting.
We do see the longsword for the LeBlanc, so we'll see a sleeper-ass build. Avery should just interrupt that. Yeah, I don't... That's a little bit of disrespect coming out from Russ there, just crafting an item right in front of the Riven's face. That grasp proc does make that an even health
won
trade.
The trade.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't get the brittle proc off the W.
Yeah, Zarius is wrapping around here at level 3, just as Mason predicted. Flash is in for the root. Brewer is falling down super low, though, and Dave's just able to run up. They both flash on the exact same timer, but First Blood does go over to the Vex. Maokai's able to pick it up. This is about equal gold going with both teams because the solo kill was given to the team that got First Blood.
Really well played by Dave there.
Yeah. That flash was pretty funny. Avery is now looking for a trade, but is just going to disengage. Wave state is way in favor of Russ here. Mike is actually doing the Zarius special here, the top lane gank at level 5. It is now walking up. Avery's a bit overextended. Is trying to cut down to the Maokai. And the flash out should just be able to save him. I don't know if they're looking to re-engage here.
I think flash for Ghost is always worth it there if you're Nutbusters.
Yeah, for sure. And it also just leaves Riven so vulnerable for the next gank. Makes it harder for her to play a little bit aggressively and fully bully the Ornn in this matchup.
Yeah, Ornn now has a health advantage, although he is down 2 waves in CS.
Yeah, Avery is just going down so low here. Russ does have the flash available to him, so could force a play potentially, but looks like they're just taking a safe route.
Will is actually even in CS here, which is really impressive considering like you've been pushed under turret the whole time, you're half health. but managing to keep that tied.
Yeah, I just think the pressure from the Morgana is actually pretty significant here. Lucian gets a lot scarier at 6 when he can just burn the ulti. It looks like Will's been able to sacrifice some health to get CS. But Guru is actually falling down super low now. Misses the E, and Dave with the cheeky Teemo emote after that play knows that he could have been put in a lot worse of a position there.
That was just a really clean sidestep from Dave, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
I
he
think
decided to step back.
Looked like a
Knowing that he would get
S-press, I thought. Like he just didn't move
maybe.
at all. But, I don't know. Either way.
Either way, like, not moving back towards your turret in that situation, I think, is well played.
Actually, I think
Shows his experience in the matchup.
he was rooted. Which is why I think I commented on it. But
No, I think he stopped moving and
now,
then...
I want to check now. Yeah, he was rooted.
No. Back one more. I need to prove this right now. So, first E comes out.
Gets rooted
moving.
and then misses immediately. He was rooted when he missed.
He backstepped and then got rooted.
I don't know. People watching can say that I'm right.
People watching know that I'm right.
Okay. You can think that. Regardless, I think the mistake is on Zarius. He knows the root's gonna hit. He should have just waited until the root comes through and then
Zarius
you
is
can't
playing
miss.
Maokai.
Brewer.
Dean's literally... Okay, Mason just hates me. This is known.
I mean, you can like go into the game, watch the replay file later. Is what it is. Cyrus is now up a bit in CS, but Will should just be able to farm this out under tower. I think he might be at a little bit of a deficit, but they get the bot prio off, and they are just going to be able to claim this first dragon. There's just no way for them to contest it, but as a snowballing team, this is again something that you need to do. I don't think this really indicates an advantage for the Spectres necessarily. Riven's just getting chased around the map, and her team's jungle, but it doesn't matter. She's kind of up 20 CS, and now it's just going to get a free control word's worth of gold. Dave is kind of smurfing this mid lane. Really good counter pick here. I'm not... Short Brewer is actually super confident on this pick. It might just be something that they wanted to flex. Like, we've seen him perform a lot better in blind picks with equally good counters on other ones, but... I don't know. Something to think about.
Avery has built up a quiet 20 CS lead.
Well, Noonquiver has come through for both ADCs. LeBlanc is going to get it soon, but now this Maokai ult comes out. He just flashes, and this should just be an easy kill. Brewer is just running away. They just give that one to Cesaris as well. Both kills for Spectres have just been Maokai taking the Specs out. We haven't seen too many ganks come towards mid from the Udyr, but I don't think you're necessarily forced to make too many proactive plays with this team comp, so I don't think it's a huge deal. Avery's not coming in. The ult is burned, steals the Rift-Tailed, and takes out the Udyr all in one strike. And now Russ is just getting zoned off of his own ultimate. Really well played by Avery there.
Mason says we're both right and we were talking about different things. I'll accept that. I think Maokai Smite came down at like 767 and Riven ult came out right at the same second. So Udyr did not get a chance to smite there, which is pretty tragic.
I mean, he also died at the same second that Riven killed it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the ult killed both of them. Riven was making sure there was no shot he was getting that. I think the Maokai Smite, you could argue, is maybe a little bit of a misplay because it gives Mike the opportunity to steal it. But I don't know, really good heads up rotation from Avery there. Just completely denies Rift-Tailed and gets him a kill. playing to his win condition quite well there.
Definitely. I also think Spectres as a team is coordinated enough to where Logan might have just called out.
Okay, Avery's running it down. Orange can just burn E, I guess. You wait all the Riven dashes out, then you burn your dash. Here's that level 6 threat from Sarverus. Forces the heal out from Kaisa, otherwise Dom was just going to die there. I don't know how long that ward's been there, but very well placed. They're just getting all this knowledge of where Mike is on the map. Looks like Maokai is looking to possibly match the play that they think is coming. Mike's walking down. Vex is hovering the area, but she's going to need hit ult to do anything. Sarvis is now tagged, but the Maokai's here because they already knew. Millia does get feared in. Sarvis is dropping down super low. They're able to pick up one kill both ways, and now it's 2 for Nutbusters. That picks up another kill from both teams, and now it's just a 1v1 between the Udyr and the LeBlanc. But now Avery's going on top, almost gets it, burns the flash, is able to pick up the kill, is able to get out, and this fight down to the bot lane is still happening. That was wild. I believe that was 3 kills for both teams in total.
Pretty crazy series of events.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave went massive there. Like, that was the 3v4, and they were ahead in kills until the cross-map play by the Riven. So, well played to Nutbusters there.
Yeah, I mean,
they are pretty significantly far behind now, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looked like Spectres spotted out that a play was likely happening because they had vision of both the Vex and the Udyr there. They just miscalculated how far up the Lucian and Millia could be and still be safe. Vex just had a good ultimate. Makes it really hard to play the game. And yeah, I don't think it necessarily matters. 2k gold lead isn't terrible. You're expecting to be behind in gold at this point of the game anyway for Nutbusters, and I think getting damage itemized for both Kaisa and Vex is good. I was continuing talking about that because I was very confident that the Kaisa was going to survive. I got a little worried there at the end, but
not even close.
Yeah.
As they say. Yeah, I mean, if you're Nutbusters, you're probably like pretty happy. Like, no lane is significantly far behind except top.
Dom is just going to die here. I don't think there's any way for him to survive. Sarverus just picks up the clean solo. Avery's looking for one of his own on the top side, but I think you just want to take this turret out and then look to open the map that way. They're looking for another kill onto Dave. He will have died 4 times if they're able to pick this up successfully. Gru is actually able to pick this one up, flashes over the wall, and now Cesarius is trying to get out. Mythic and Sarvis are now running up. These buffs onto these champions should be enough. Kaisa gets a tag, but it's just not enough to get him low enough where he's comfortable ulting in. Now steps into the sapling. This control ward is actually doing so much for just this bush as a whole. And now it's looking a little doomed for the Nutbusters. I was going to say earlier that normally Spectres have completely disassembled the game at this point, and they're up about 5k gold. They're actually up 5k gold now, and they're going to have a 2-dragon advantage. This is exactly what you want to see if you are a Spectres fan.
Looking a little bit rough at the moment, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's
Avery's just ignoring Russ, and will take the turret through the Maokai.
Yeah, the ult comes out now. I'm not sure if Avery has any chance of getting out here. Gets a double stun, but huge shutdown going over to the Udyr here. I think a large part of this game is going to depend on if Zach is going to tilt or not, because they have been committing every resource in the game to shut him down. So if he's able to keep it together, I think he is quite fed. But
Udyr's also going for the AD build this game. I just noticed. I mean, he had the PTA, but you see him building towards, I believe that's a Stridebreaker?
Yeah, I mean, that item is really good here into a lot of champions that are either melee or dashing into melee range.
Yep.
And obviously you have 3 AP champs on the bot side, and Orndeal's mostly AP.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't hate it. I think it's a solid pickup.
Yeah, I think Will is actually going to be going for an AD build, but he still bought the static shift first. I'm not sure if that was like an autopilot thing or if he thinks it's better here situationally, but normally if you are going lethal tempo, you see the Kraken Slayer first, but he could have just decided that he doesn't need it because they don't really have tanks, which I think is a fair assumption. Brewer going in for an aggressive trade here, gets the root and is able to dodge the Vex ultimate. Just completely
sidestep was so
disintegrates
clean.
the play.
I think if he doesn't sidestep that, he just dies from Vex ult plus Ignite.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hope that you can just get to tower in time. Because the root does last a decent chunk of time, so you would have been able to kind of get back onto your own terms. But definitely would have been close. And the LeBlanc has a shutdown, so him dying is worse. He is going for the Hearthbound Axe, so we are seeing an 80 LeBlanc. They're relying on solo AP from Cesarius plus whatever little magic damage Brewer is able to put down. Not sure I fully support this play. I'd like to see a lot of armor itemized from the Ornn and the Udyr as soon as possible.
This does open a window for Nutbusters to be able to play.
Okay, Cerberus ulting now, gets them both low, but just walks up a little bit too high, doesn't get as much damage as he could have.
If Nutbusters can hold them off until like 25 minutes, where they can stack up like a bunch of armor on the Ornn and maybe the Udyr, then it might be playable just because LeBlanc looks like she's going the full AD build.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it really depends on if your team fighting is good enough, because if they're able to focus down the Kai'Sa and the Vex, then it might not matter if your tanks are living super long. But you don't really have too many tools to take care of the tanks on the side of Spectres. Brewer is now going for another trade. If he gets this root, it could just be over, and now is just able to get a solo kill, putting him on a killing spree. So, scratch what I said earlier. He's playing quite well on this pick. Mike is now running in. The root misses. Will just hops in with the ulti immediately, and Mythic's just getting burned down. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to survive. Will's able to pick it up. The Maokai ult's coming down now. Huge root coming through. They flash onto the Morgana, and now Cesarius is looking for the backline, but Kai'Sa's spacing really, really well here. And they're just going to be able to walk out. 1 for 1 in the bot lane.
Gold lead has ballooned up to 7k in the meantime.
Yep. And Will falls down super low. He is just going to die to Cesarius, dives him under tower. They juggled aggro pretty well there, able to stay alive. Yeah, I mean, stuff like this is why I don't necessarily want to favor New York Nutbusters, just because you have such a huge gold lead. And I agree with that kind of like 25-point benchmark that you gave, but it's going to be so hard to stem the bleeding until then. Obviously, you do need those armor items to actually start coming through. Morgana's going to get some early armor when she completes the Hourglass, but it looks like she's not going for that until second item. And the Stride Breaker obviously is not giving you any armor.
Like, I think at this point in the game, LeBlanc can already win inside, which is really rough. You need to commit at least 2 people to deal with him.
Yeah, I mean, the Ornn might just be able to survive it out, but it's going to be tough. The next dragon is coming up in 15 seconds. It looks like New York Nutbusters is posturing to try to just start it, but it's going to be really hard for them to get it unless they're able to just sneak it. But I don't really see Spectres allowing that to happen, especially with this control ward that has still not been cleared, by the way. I don't know how long this has been there. You can't really see who placed it. So if anyone does know, that would be funny. But Russ is now burning an ulti, just whiffs. Cesarius is able to hit 3 roots, but Dave hits a fear onto the backline, but the Milio buffers the cleanse there. Insane play, but now Will's in on the backline, getting so much damage down to Cerberus, but the Lucian ulti is just more powerful. Avery, the weak side please, shows up and just clears out that side of the fight. Dave's still looking for something, but he's down super low, and Avery can just find him over the wall. He's very aware of
little Jover,
where he is.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a 4 for 0 on that fight, and they're just
none.
going to be able to pick up the soul point.
Yeah, into an 11k gold lead at 19 minutes plus 3 dragons. It'll take a miracle. It's not impossible, but pretty close, unfortunately.
Yep.
I do think, given Spectre's tendency to do a little silly, funny, goofy chuckle drafts in game 2.
Yep. Okay, Mike is running in now, gets a stun onto the Riven, is just running through, trying to get the slow, but Riven just has so many dashes, it's getting a little rough. If they get some plasma, then Will might be able to get in. They're getting some damage onto Avery, but it's just too much. Avery just walks in, he's going to be able to pick up all 3 of these with Gruer. And 2 soul laners are looking a little bit scary there. I think Will just has a really tough time kiting there because obviously he has no ulti. And Avery just has too many dashes. The gap close is just really difficult to deal with as an ADC, especially when she's tanky enough to survive that much damage.
Yeah, and we're seeing the game plan here from Spectres like come out. Like they kept a lead in the 2 side lanes and were able to just focus all of their jungle attention onto Dave early, which kind of shuts down like the one kind of mid-game threat from Nutbusters, and we're seeing them just continue to snowball that into this massive lead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost not sure what I would advise Nutbusters to do here. I think maybe just give a few things that they were contesting in the earlier game. But obviously a couple of those they felt like were just uncontested, and then Avery showed up. But like honestly, I'm leaning towards like MVP just going to this ward. I do really wish I knew who placed it. If we can, it's hard to even tell what type of ward it is, because then I could probably figure it out, but I don't know. Was not the Milio, so I'd have to assume it was Cesarius, but I don't know, it just gives them so much knowledge of like every play that Spectres, or that Nutbusters was setting up for, and I just think it makes it really hard to go for anything. If the team that's going to win every fight that they participate in is aware of the context of every fight. And now Will is just getting burst down. The Lucian ult just goes down, is able to just kill him straight up. Mike is trying to pick one up, but now Sarvis has 2 kills, maybe looking for a 3rd, but they're just going to give this one over to Avery. Walks in, burns the ulti, just clear him out, and now there's only 1 player per lane in the 2 that they're sieging. But they've actually just now split up to cover all 3, and I don't really know what Nutbusters does here anymore.
Yeah, you're losing top, inhib, probably also lose bot, inhib, maybe even mid inhib here.
Yep. They're looking for a collapse onto Gruer, but he does get the root down, but he's caught out in a super bad position. Russ is unable to hit the ulti, and Gruer actually just gets out because of that, and now mid lane and bot are being taken down to just their inhibitors, I believe, unless they're able to take them. It doesn't look like any inhibs are going to be taken in this play, and now the entirety of Nutbusters is back up. They're able to pick one up, but Sarvis just kills on the back line, is able to maybe get 2 here. He's just kiting so well. It's so hard to take him down. The Milio's keeping him alive, and now Gruer focuses Dave once again. This is a 4-for-1. They were able to pick up the Maokai, but no one else, and wow, this is just game. Yeah.
That was really, really dominant game by Spectres there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason they're undefeated. They are really good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone did really well this game, but I want to say Cesarius MVP personally. I think strong vote of confidence that he placed the ward, and just the amount of plays that he initiated, and he just was always in the right spot around the map. But
I'm comfortable giving it to anyone, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm done with Cesarius.
I mean, he had the most KP, I guess, which matters, but I don't know. If it's not him, I think it's Sarvis, just because he was able to do so much damage. But I think that would fall under the Scrims classic of whoever has most damage, give them MVP. So
Agreed. No, I think his plays mid set up his team to be able to snowball like that. So I'm okay giving it to Cesarius here.
Yep. Who would have thought that a tree could be a playmaker? Answer being everyone.
Old Zaza tree.
Very true. Looks like Nutbusters has swapped up their pick. They went with the red side in the first game, but now they want the blue. If I had to hazard a guess, I would assume it's because they want to first pick Maokai, but I may be wrong.
I hope not. That champ is so boring. Just no one play Maokai and we'll all be happy.
Yeah, actually looks like Honan is being subbed in for Mythic here.
That's crazy.
which is interesting. Well, I think the lore here is that Mythic is going on a trip and is going to be subbed out for a whole month. So I think getting as many honing games in as
Uh,
possible is probably necessary for this team to continue their streak.
okay, that is understandable. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing some Thresh Prio.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
I would want to see that banned over Nautilus, but I don't remember if that actually ended up getting banned previously. I
It did
don't
not.
think it did. So I don't know. I'm excited. Yeah, okay. Captain has now told me that that is in fact the correct roster swap, so
Lovely.
cool. Good to know it
We
wasn't
should
a
be
mistake, but
drafting in
I trust.
about 4 minutes.
Yep, they waited for us. Our angels, or
Such kind souls.
angles, confirming to the meme, I think. Well, we're not actually going to see much new here. I am a little tired, so I'm not necessarily going to log the games, but I think Honan versus Dominic is going to be an interesting matchup. I think Morgana, again, does have a lot of play into the signature champion for the other team, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to look to ban the Morgana or pick something else. But Honan kind of has a bit of a deep champion pool, so I think seeing something else come out from him would not be very surprising at all. I wouldn't actually be surprised if they hold a later pick for him, just because I feel like his list of champions that he could play, I think that is different than a champ pool for reasons. And I think it does apply for Honan in particular.
I'm
I
just
think
hoping
is
we
very
get some meta
vast.
busting from Honan, his former team.
That is what I was attempting to say in many more words, I guess. All right.
Cho support would go so crazy here.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
all
it.
I'm
It
saying.
works with the Kaisa if they're able to grab it, but I really am just not sure what to expect here. Don't think they'd necessarily prio any picks that Nutbusters were looking to deny, unless Dave's looking to grab this LeBlanc, which honestly is not outside the realm of possibility. Mason, I think, just called that out in Twitch chat, but
Yeah, and I think he's pretty on point there.
yeah, I'm not sure if it's necessarily the correct thing. I feel like Gruer's been able to do stuff like that on basically any champion, and I do think the only reason he actually got in a good position was because of Caesarius getting him ahead. But considering I think he was the least ahead of the laners for Spectres, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not sure if LeBlanc is as OP at our level of play as it is in the higher levels of play that we're seeing it be super prevalent.
Definitely possible, although I think Gruer as a Masters mid laner can probably leverage it pretty well.
Oh, is he really Masters? Did
I
not
think
know.
he hit it, yeah.
Wow. Uh, his little outline color on the site is still diamond, so I will update him. Do a little peek. Yeah, he appears to still be diamond, at least in his most played queue. Yeah, diamond 1 LP. It's possible that he hit it and then demoted, but as of right now,
Um,
just on the crest of Masters, not quite having entered it.
I could have sworn I saw a screenshot, but I'll double check that.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying he's not currently
Oh
Masters.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Looks like Spectres is ready up for draft. Nutbusters is not. This is last game's draft. A little bit of an oopsie on my part, but I wonder if Spectres adapts their bans. But I really don't think so. I think Twitch, Katarina, and Rengar are just too easy to take off the table. It takes comfort for a lot of their players. And I think Ornn is the champion that Avery struggles the least to find counter picks for.
I can confirm he was Masters for the period of about 4 games, and then went all the way down to Diamond 125 LP, and then all the way down again to Diamond 251 LP.
Yikes.
Yeah, so a little bit of a loss streak, but he was Masters.
That's gotta hurt.
It lasted him about 4 days. That's pretty solid.
True. Okay, well, looks like the bans are pretty much the same here. Not expecting to see too much change. We might see Darius banned again, but no, actually Maokai's banned. So Russ is super good on Maokai. So it kind of sucks. I feel like you could really just ban the Darius and grab the Maokai for yourself. I feel like the LeBlanc was not the issue, but believe that Nutbusters is just going to ban the Maokai and grab the LeBlanc first. And Spectres just bans LeBlanc! That's got to be a tilter. So that does mean Twitch is open. I'd like to see that just grabbed here. I feel like Honan would just pick it if Will doesn't. So, yeah, that is what we're going to see. And the Thresh hovered. Not selected yet, but I think this is a very strong pick for Honan, and it is now locked in.
Would be a banger game. Will and Honan already on their main champs.
Oh, and we are seeing Son of Thresh. Evil lore matchup, or evil lore duo, but pretty solid in the actual game. Both of these champions did just get buffs on the most recent patch.
Okay, this
but
is
we're
a
not seeing
little
the
bit of a
quest
stretch.
because they're on the same team.
Little bit of a stretch, but I wouldn't be surprised if Honan pulls out the farming Thresh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's bad. I think Thresh is one of the worst champions to farm on with the Senna, just because he does get more damage if he's not actively auto-attacking. A different champion we are seeing here from Dominic, seeing the Lulu paired up with the Twitch. I don't think we've seen him play too many different champions, so that is exciting. I'm not sure how comfortable he is on the champion, just because I don't follow his match history very much. But prior to this game, he'd only played Morgana, Ahri, and Amumu. And the Ahri... Oh, that's just in the season. Actually, of all time, he's still only played Morgana, Ahri, and Amumu, just more games on Ahri. The Ornn is locked in here. I, again, think that there's a lot of counter picks that you can have here for Spectres. The Darius is actually still up here, so I'd like to see that locked in. If they do believe it's their strongest matchup, if not, I think there's a lot of other things you could do. But the Tryndamere is locked in for Avery. This is a champion he has played before. I believe he may have unbound the R key in one of those games, but
that does sound familiar. Yeah.
He has played it a few times, and
see Kha'Zix
it's done well
against Mike. That makes a lot of sense. Could also see the Kindred ban here. I've heard a lot of junglers in the server say Kindred is actually Mike's best champ.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. There's other champions that are just better that he's pretty good at, but the Udyr being taken away does make sense. I feel like he was able to do a bit on that champion, more than he probably should have been able to do considering the game state, so I think it's a solid ban. The Fiddlesticks hover apparently by itself warrants a ban. I don't know how much it's actively being played by Caesarius.
Ascendant ban against Guru. I think personally I would have preferred to see the Syndra ban, but Kassadin isn't bad either.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kassadin just does well into the champions that they've locked and maybe what they're planning to lock so far. Yeah, I think this Fiddle ban was just like literally a joke cover. I see it nowhere in Caesarius' match history. The fact that it got a ban is really funny. This is the AP carry champion I would expect to see from Caesarius, so I'm really happy to see that locked in.
Something... Revolución de la Luna or something.
Yeah, there's literally no Fiddlesticks games in like the last couple of weeks, so I think they're just being a little goofy. Or there's some lore that I don't know about, but they are holding last pick for Gruer. The Graves pick, they are again just itemizing into full scaling. I'd like to see something a little bit more aggressive early in the mid lane, but you're basically forced to choose an AP character here, or else you're just kind of doomed. Thresh just has natural armor stacking. Oh, okay, so this Ahri actually could be Dominic or Dave. I don't know if Dave would play the Lulu support, but it is possible. I think it is able to deal with some of these champions pretty well, but interesting. I am not sure if throwing Dominic face first into Gruer is a super smart idea, but we'll have to see. Tristana is picked up here. Not super familiar with that particular mid lane matchup, but I am going to slightly redo assets because I do believe it is going to be Dominic in the mid lane.
Yeah, so as you said, Nutbusters is full scaling again. Ari does have a little bit of like early to mid presence, but the rest of your team is just full scale, get to 2 or 3 items at least. The Thresh Senna lane into the Twitch Lulu is really interesting. Obviously, in a vacuum, if Twitch is just able to free fire on the Thresh, he will win. But Senna's range makes that a little bit of a challenge. I'm not super sure what the farming Thresh statistics look like, and I'm also not sure if that's what we'll be seeing from Honan. But it seems like a pretty safe bet. And when he does that, he tends to go full tank and not another ADC. And
Yeah,
considering
I
they have
mean,
Senna Tristana, I think that makes sense.
Senna did just get buffed for, I mean, it's a crit change, but realistically that is helping you out a lot more when you have more gold. So I don't think farming Senna is actually a bad option here. Also, just given what Sarvers normally does, which is farm a lot and then harass people, I think I wouldn't be too surprised to see either option.
Yep.
Ari has actually historically done well against Tristana in our server. I'm not sure if that's like the correct way for this lane to go, but just looking at data, I think it should be pretty even. It just depends a lot on how you use the charm and the rocket jump, but I'm expecting the Tristana Diana to be absolutely painful to deal with in early skirmishes, and the Tryndamere does have a lot of power early as well. I feel like he's always really powerful in one-on-ones and skirmishes throughout the game, and is just absolutely terrible in team fights. I don't think he necessarily has a stronger early or late game in particular. Obviously, he does get really powerful with a lot of farm, and Avery we saw is able to get really high farm advantages into an Ornn on other champions that he's comfortable with, so I'm expecting to see this Tryndamere become a huge problem going into this game.
We got Mythic in chat. Hopefully we can get some thoughts from him. He says, we cook until they throw us out the kitchen.
Dude, I'm
That
having
is
like huge
so real.
PTSD. I feel like there's some sort of substitute that happened before, and like someone was playing Singed, and so someone was in chat saying that there is cooking. But
By
I like,
PTSD, do you mean deja vu?
yeah, sorry, I'm similar concept. I'm like Googling
Yeah.
statistics as I'm talking.
Oh, you're good, you're good. I was just like wondering if
No,
the Singe pick
I
had like trauma
misspoke.
associated with it.
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it looks like Thresh in the ADC position, which is like the best approximation for farming Senna, is like a terrible win rate.
Well,
But
the thing
I
with,
think
with
people just
ADC
play
Thresh
Thresh
is that
ADC.
they
Yeah.
build like ADC items on him,
Yeah.
but that's not what Honan does when he plays
Right.
Thresh.
I'm trying to see if there's, yeah, tank items on Thresh ADC, which is I think what you'd actually want to look for, are in like the 44 to 50% range. So I think it's
Okay.
about what I said, where it's definitely not the optimal farming combination with Senna, but I don't think it's like terrible either. I think there's just a few things that make it suboptimal in comparison to other things. I'd honestly just prefer to see the Senna farm, but I don't know. That's like a bit of personal preference plus what I think would work out better for this team. Also, if you have the Thresh roaming instead of Senna, I think you get a lot more done in fights. Like if the Thresh is present for Rift Herald at like level 5 or 6, that does a lot more for you than the Senna. Because the Senna is able to assist from across the map with ulti. And I think can apply better pressure into the Twitch.
Definitely true.
Past performance, Sarvis is actually first timing the Senna. We've seen Tristana from Gruer once before and it did not go well. However, Caesarius has been smurfing on this Diana, which is not something that should be very surprising. Dave has played Lulu twice before to great success. Everything else is stuff that we're kind of familiar with, so not much to note there. Twitch has been doing really well this season and is a comfort pick for Will, so I think we can factor that in a little bit. These I did not update, and overall I think Twitch has just been doing well, but a lot of our Twitch players are Twitch one tricks, so I think that is naturally going to make it be a little favored towards the Twitch in general.
Are we almost in game?
Minute and a half.
Big. I will be right back.
All right. Well, I think we're looking at a game that's pretty similar to last game where Nutbusters just wants to be able to survive the early game and scale, I think. The Graves is maybe a champion that doesn't need to interact with the map as much as maybe the Udyr would have to. So I think they might have a better setup win condition here. Graves is also able to just get a lot of pressure through invades and stuff. I feel like that champion is pretty good at doing that. And the Tryndamere Senna Thresh that we're seeing on the top and bot side does give a little less early strength for Spectres. So I do think the Nutbusters win condition is more in view this game. But again, it's really going to come down to execution. And if this Diana is able to just start blowing people up, it gets really hard for Nutbusters to do anything. I think the Lulu's going to have really good hands to stop the Diana from engaging. If you're able to get a polymorph as she dashes in before she's able to get the ulti off, there's stuff you can do, and if you're able to get Tristana polymorphed when she goes in, or Tryndamere, I think this pick actually has a lot of value. It's surprising that the Lulu pick was able to get slammed down so early and still get this much value out of the champions picked into it, but I think Spectres just knows what they're going for, and I think they're going for one of their typical Game 2 drafts. This is a game that I said would have a really good draft in terms of exciting picks that we don't really get to see, but it's definitely less hype than I thought it would.
I have returned. I will say one thing that you see a lot in pro play whenever Graves is meta is if you can get vision on the enemy jungler, then you start on the opposite side, and then your E over the wall is just so good at invading that you can like vertical jungle without them knowing. So we'll be interested to see if Nutbusters can get vision for that play.
Yeah, I mean, Spectres has been the team that's been a little better with vision, but I think you put Dave into the support role and has more access to wards. However, this is not the case. Super early into the game, you do have to wait for the support trinket to complete for the support to really have a vision advantage on other members of the game. No, and I don't think Twitch Lulu is necessarily an exciting lane. I do like seeing Will on Twitch, but I don't think this is like a crazy meta-defying draft that we are expecting from the collision of these two teams in a game 2.
It looks like it will be farming Thresh. Senna has picked up the support item.
I will move them just for CS numbers, but I'm going to feel like the stats, how we've done it is, if Senna is playing with a traditional support champion, Senna just still counts as the marksman. So that's probably how this game is going to be entered. But
yeah,
looking at CS numbers side by side is always the easier comparison. No, Ornn and Ahri are not exciting champions either. I feel like Spectres did go off meta, but not as far off meta as they have been doing in some of their game 2s. A Senna lane with Honan on his main champion is cool for that reason, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily exciting. Avery is hard losing this early trade. I don't even think he was able to get a ward down, and it is way too late for him to reset. I also believe you want to start Q on Tryndamere normally, so that puts him a little out of his
No, you start E.
for that lane.
It's E into 2 points in Q.
Gotcha.
Although I think it is viable to start either one.
Yeah, I thought it was QEQ, but obviously that changes a lot, and they just changed that champion a bunch, so...
It's also patch dependent, for sure.
Right. Yeah, Cyrus is just going for the poke, but Dave walks back to the bush and stops the auto. And yeah, I don't think Avery is actually going to be suffering from that play at all, except he cancels an auto, which is a bit unfortunate for him. Level 2 is obtained first here by the Nutbusters, but I don't think they really have a way to get in too hard here. Yeah, Avery is just brutalizing Russ here, I think. The Graves' ability to gank the Tryndamere is probably not what you want it to be. Gruer is definitely playing this mid lane well, but is down in CS, or was for a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like both junglers will just be looking to full clear.
Yep.
Towards the bot side.
Honan forces out the flash from Dave very early in the game. Will gets a lot of damage down here, but Honen's falling down super low. They're looking to just burn him down. Almost has full stack poison. Will flashes in, but the heal was still available, so both Will and Honan are down super low. The ghost just pops out. They figure Cesarius is coming. Cesarius did just auto a minion there, but now Sarvis is going to get the slow, and they're going to pick up first blood, going hopefully to Cesarius, but it does go to Sarvis instead. Which I guess Cesarius is building the tank build, so accelerating the Senna is definitely the better choice, given that knowledge.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad per se for Senna to get the kill.
I just feel like Spectres win cons are going to rely more around playing around Diana in skirmishes, so the extra golden hair is more useful generally. But if it's tank, then it doesn't matter as much.
Support Senna with the extra what word am I looking for? Sustain with the support item. Like if you get like 2 long swords or even like a dirk on your first back, like the amount of poke you have is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean the dirk will give you
like
extra sustain as well because the extra Q healing from lethality. Yeah, Gruer is just shoving out these waves. It isn't farming super well, but doesn't really need to. It's just going to try and shove out waves consistently, try and get damage in on tower. But Avery is actually down a level in this lane. He did back for boots, and Ornn can just stay in lane and buy, but I don't know. I just don't see any way that Tryndamere should be able to lose this lane. He's now trading very heavily, still has the heal available. Pops the ghost, does get knocked up in the air, and does not press Q, so solo kill for Russ actually really well played there. Just as I'm saying that Avery can't possibly lose this, he manages to, so joke's on me, I guess.
Avery's just determined to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
I will say, Russ being on a comfort champ like that does help. I think Avery has played Tryndamere and like decently experienced on him, but not quite as experienced as Russ is on the lane.
Yeah, I feel like Avery's reputation on the Tryndamere is more about not pressing buttons than it is actually doing things, unfortunately. Gruer does get charmed there and is forced to take some tower damage, but Dominic just doesn't have the mana to follow him up on it. The early Warden's Mail from Russ here is really smart. Does a good job of attempting to neutralize this lane, so also having that early gold lead from the solo kill is pretty good. So it allows him to itemize a very good defensive item like this without really delaying his mythic too much. And really good hook from Honan here. Now they're engaging. Will does get rooted out. The exhaust is coming down from Senna. Sarvis cancels an auto there, but Honan's able to pick it up. I was worried for a second.
Honan is the master of last hitting kills on Thresh.
Yeah. I mean, it really looks like he was just trying to give it to the Senna, but the canceled auto does reduce your damage pretty significantly. And now Honan is actually in a really tough spot here. Mike's here, but he's able to get the hook blind, is near sight, and he's able to pick it up, and now Cesarius goes in, but there's just not a play. Able to save themselves, which is good, but now Gruer goes in, gets charmed. Dom is absolutely brutalizing him in this matchup. The CS is no longer as even as it was, but Tristan is naturally just able to shove more. And now Gruer can go in, but Dom just burns the ulti. He's playing this into the Tristana basically perfectly. Every time he goes in, he gets the charm off, and is ulting defensively as he needs to. Spectres is going for this play, but it's looking a little rough. But Will just walks up just too far, and he just gets completely burst down. The shielding is there, but it's not enough. Mike tries to flash, but the body blocking on Graves' autos is just too difficult to deal with. Honan's falling down low, and Dave walked up to try and go for the kill, but it ultimately just puts him in a dangerous position, and they're able to go 3 for 0 on this play. Spectres has now claimed a 5-1 kill lead and about 3,000 gold.
is so sad.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, what Nutbusters really need to improve on was not contesting so many things that they're in a bad position to, and they paid the price there.
Definitely.
They are 3-manning mid here, but Greer still does have the rocket jump. Walks back up, though, does not see the twitch. Will should be able to get this, but forces the flash out instead.
Greer also picked up 2 plates there and has a 20 CS lead. I wouldn't be surprised if he has the most gold in the game.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty good back from him. Is building towards... okay, actually, Caesarius and Senna both have more than him. Well, I mean, Sarvis has 3 kills, and Caesarius has 4 KP and the same amount of CS.
That's true. I forget to account for the...
Yeah, and Hornet hits another hook. Will is caught out a little bit here, but the Polymorph actually doing a lot. Has to flash to survive. And Dave's falling down low. The hook is able to hit Twitch, though. Good fake. Kind of looked like he was going for the Lulu there, but they're not able to pick this one up. Sarvis flashes. Autos a mini and takes a bunch of damage from tower, but maybe that was just a ploy the whole time. Dave is falling down really low. The hook is able to pick it up. Owen taking tower shots, but is still alive. Chip damage is coming through, but Will's so low. If he walks up and gets seen at all, he just probably dies. Goes for the play anyway.
Was so close to hitting the Q, the Twitch.
Honen's looking for the hook here. You know he wants this kill. And now Mike does end up backing on a ward, and Avery's here to try and pick this up. They're killing him in his own jungle, and Sarvis is actually able to pick up Twitch on the other side of the map. Avery's falling down really low here, has ulti, but does not burn it. I'm curious how they were able to pick up the Twitch down there. Oh, just ulti at 6. That makes sense.
That'll do it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Nutbusters is kind of getting routed this game. I would have liked to see a game where they were able to kind of reach their win condition a little bit, but the team fights this game are going to look really, really rough. Gruer, I don't really know what he's doing here. It's just going to trade 1-for-1 kills. Maybe just didn't want to give himself a shutdown. It actually does reset Ari's gold there, so maybe there's a play. You get the wave kind of crashed into the tower.
Third plate. But I cannot.
For some reason, it's not showing him on a map. No, he did not.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just prevents himself from getting a shutdown and prevents Ari's gold from decreasing. I don't. But also, I just think injecting additional gold into the Tristana at a time where you'd want it back anyway isn't really terrible. Yeah. Makes your skirmishes a lot stronger.
Bot turrets on the map are showing plates, but none of the other ones are.
Yeah, go figure.
Small indie game company, what can you do?
It's probably because I like rewinded or something. I don't really know.
Probably, yeah. No Dean or something.
So true. The Umbral Glaive is completed already. Honen's build is really funny. He's clearly going for Heartsteel. But this build order is goofy, as you'd expect from him.
True.
Honen has been absolutely dominating the spot lane. And now he gets the pull, is able to hit the hook, but they're in a bit of a rough spot. Will is not yet level 6, but Mike is here, and he's getting a lot of damage down, but Sarvis is kiting really well, getting some poke in. It's going to be tough for them to kill just because Thresh is so strong, and he hits another hook. Dave does have to ult himself, and they're going to go 1-for-1, which is actually going to benefit the Nutbusters, and Will is able to stealth himself to get out. They get some damage down, but the double kill with the ulti from Sarvis is able to turn that into a triple kill. They lined up just right. And now Dom's getting dove under tower, is just getting stacked up, and the Tristop is available, but good ulti to keep himself alive, and the Rift Herald does not do even half the health of that tower, but they were able to pick up the mid tower, which is just a lot of gold, into the top side for the Spectres.
Okay. I think Senna will continue to have the most gold.
Yeah, one would say. She's also worth the most gold.
That's also true.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea, or I like that they're considering these lane swaps. I don't think Dom is doing poorly at all in the mid lane. It's just, you have Trist mid, so Trist mid is doing Trist mid things. I just think if you're putting Zac on a champion, you want him on something with a lot more agency. The Lulu is ultimately not able to do too much, and does just get E'd there, but the minion wave gets in the way for the hook. I think that was 2 item completions coming out from Caesarius and Gruer, and the hook just hits, and Zarvis is able to pick up another kill. 8-0-3 on the Senna at 12 minutes. 7k gold lead already, and this game is ridiculous. And they're able to pick up another one. This one does go over to Honan. The next dragon is up. The screen will tell you that it is both a mountain drag and a hextech drag. It's a hextech. But, you know. Gruer going in. I don't think he's going to be able to get a kill here. Avery is walking up, trying to get some damage down. But
that frozen heart values already.
Yeah, I mean, Ross
So
is playing
insane.
this lane super well. That early solo kill kind of ruined any advantage Trinamir was going to have. And Honan just hits another hook. Dave is falling down super low. I think it's going to be tough to try and kill him. But Spectres positioning well there, so they didn't take too many tower shots. Yeah. And Caesarius is just soloing Dragon while all this is happening. And now Gruer might be able to get it.
Well, I think
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Enough points in the explosives charge to get it. And now another hook hits over the wall. Honan is just finding every hook in the game. He has heal and flash available. Burns a heal, runs away. Now Caesarius is going in. Oh my goodness. Summers flashes over the wall, is not able to get the auto off because of range. And the TP comes through, Sarver's grabbing a tower shot as he swings by. Orin is here, he's looking to get the kill onto Honan, but Honan just flashes it. Sarver's goes in, Gruer picking up a tower in the mid lane, they're able to kill Twitch, and Orin is also probably just going to die. Never mind, he's
Has to
able to
flash
get out in
away,
time.
but the fact that no one for Spectres dies there
Yeah,
is
I mean,
ridiculous.
Honan did a really good job of baiting there. He looked super low, but he's actually just sitting on double sums the whole time, so it's kind of hard to kill him. He still hasn't completed the Heartsteel, by the way. We'll end up doing it now. The two bot laners have 41 and 57 CS respectively. The lowest farm solo laner has 97. Just to give you a good picture of how many people, or how many fights are going down in the bot
This is
lane.
a pretty classic Honan lane. Don't farm.
Just
Affect
fight.
the entire lane with your hooks and just...
There's a 12k gold lead already. Avery is now taking a lot of damage. Will he press R?
No. But he doesn't need to.
Didn't need to. Now he might want to at a certain point. Doesn't press it there! Okay, Avery, I love you. Please stop picking this champion. It ain't working.
That's my time police.
Oh boy. And now they are running down Dom, but Dom's just able to dodge this hook. The solo laners for NYNB are playing super well this game. It simply just doesn't matter though. The bot lane has died 12 times. Senna and Thresh are absolutely terrifying. Wow. What a game.
Yeah, it's a banger for sure. Russ is going in here. The rest of his team is
Yeah,
here.
cool flank is going out here by Mike, but he's just going to get obliterated. They deal some damage. Will's trying to solo farm. Ghost, Flash, and Ulti are available from Avery, so I don't think he's going to have to expend any of them. Honan goes in off another hook. Huge bomb is going to come out. It almost kills two of them at once, and Gruer is able to pick up one. He's going to die to tower, maybe. Actually gets pulled out by the Thresh Lantern. Dom somehow gets hit by another hook from Honan. Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, this guy has what, like 500,000 mastery on the Thresh?
Yeah, I mean,
He is...
some of it has got to be luck as well. Like, yeah, I think it's missed one hook total. Some of it is just, you know. But wow, no, this is what you expect from a Honan Thresh game. He just, oh my, he hits another one.
Holy.
Jesus.
Can they just end the game here? I mean,
I don't know how they couldn't. Even if they all respawn as 5, I'll ult them, all have full sums. You can't kill him. And Avery presses R.
Big.
And he's going to survive.
Let's go.
And Execute has, I think Dave was trying to clear the minion wave and just died trying to do it. Avery does die here. And so does Cesarius, but this game is over at 17 minutes.
What a game.
This is almost the Mad Lions timer, but...
Is that fastest game in Scrim Zone history?
No way to tell. Not something we track, but maybe.
That's true.
I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like we've had 18-minute ones before. This was kind of ridiculous. I think obvious MVP this game, Honan, for sure. But
yeah, I'm down to give it to him.
yeah,
I think you could argue for Sarver's as well, but I think Honan's hooks were so insanely clean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Senna does not get that far ahead if Honan doesn't do it well. And, I mean, you could point at that first fight. Honan was the one that secured the kill, and Sarver's canceled the auto attack. So, and those early kills were what set them up for the rest of it. But wow, no, that was a series for sure. Who are you thinking we pull for an interview?
Whoever we can get, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Honan or Cesarius, but
yeah, that works. I mean, I always love hearing from Honan. It's my boy.
just came to play any damage from high school classes. Thanks, Scrimbot. That makes sense.
Oh, never mind. I can just join.
Hello. Hi, Honan. That's because you cast.
Oh, shit.
Well, they didn't ban your Thresh.
No, they did not. There's not much to say here, is there?
Am I correct that you missed one hook the entire game?
No.
I counted 2.
Okay.
Until 15 minutes, I had missed only 2.
That is actually insane.
And then after 15 minutes, I just got really adventurous.
Yeah.
Or was trying to protect Shelly.
I mean, it's also only 2 minutes after 15 minutes, so I don't really... Wow. No, I mean, that was an insane game. I mean, we haven't gotten to see much of you all season, which obviously makes me really sad. I think you're a very fun player to interact with and a very fun player to watch. And our casts, maybe plural casts that we got from you earlier, were bangers.
Yeah.
But glad to see you on the Rift. Insane Thresh gameplay. I don't think you could have asked for a better debut game.
I really could not. No, this was an absolute slaughter. I'm so sorry, New York Nutbusters as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm allowed to ask, what was the call to sub you in for the second game? My guess is that you're going to need to sub for Mythic at some point, so it was to get an early practice game in, but I don't know if I'm off the mark on that.
No, you're correct. They are looking to put me in more, so you expect to see this more often, or if people ban Thresh, I have other things cooked.
Let's go.
I mean,
Honan meta busting once again.
I have no doubt that your champion pool is pretty much limitless coming out there, but I don't know.
Oh no, you did not just call me Lehens on stream, man.
It's
complete with all the things, including the inting.
I mean, this is possible. I think that is a good comparison. But yeah, good stuff. Do you know if you start subbing starting next week, or is that a later thing, or is that not something you want to leak?
I don't even know, honestly.
Okay.
I assume so, but we'll see what happens, honestly, because our team's really flexible.
Okay. I am going to try and swap you out for Cesarius. Did just want to get you on there real quick. Wanted to congratulate you on that last game, but do want to talk to your team captain.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Get Cesarius in here.
Yep, I will move him in. Alright, hello Cesarius. Congratulations.
What's up?
6-0.
Thanks.
You did get MVP for the first game. I do have to ask, were you the one that placed that control word in their bot side jungle?
Was.
Oh my god, that thing was up all game, baby. If I could give MVP to the ward, I would have. I hope you don't take offense.
Wait a second here.
That ward saw Udyr like 6 or 7 times as he tried to come bot.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely played around it correctly. I feel like every time that vision accomplished anything, your team immediately capitalized on it, and a lot of it was you being there for the counterplay. But
and a
Yeah.
lot of saplings thrown into a lot
Yep.
of his jungle bushes. I watched Vex run into one of them at one point, and it took a quarter of her health. I felt kind of bad for that one.
Was the game plan in the first game just camp mid off the bat, or did it just work once and you wanted to keep doing it?
Let me look really quick. I think it was because Maokai has pretty good setup with LeBlanc, so that naturally goes pretty well together. So like if I get a route, it's a guaranteed LeBlanc route, and then another LeBlanc route, and since it's the AD variation of LeBlanc, it's just so many auto attacks. So
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think it was a good combo. I also feel like targeting one of their stronger lanes is always a good strategy, and I feel like it's easier to put jungle off the back foot if you're just making more proactive plays, especially in that matchup. I think Mason did mention that in chat. If Maokai gets a good gank off at level 3, that does put you in a favorable position. We could just keep this stream kind of short, but if you have anything else to kind of add to the stream, just comments about your team. Starting off 6-0 is pretty strong, so if you want to give a congrats to your teammates or anything, feel free.
yeah, I think that everyone's playing very, very well. Avery unfortunately got some top lane island in both games, but I think he played very well on the Riven, that huge TP entrance into killing like 3 people. I think that was amazing Riven play. We're showing that we can play more than just our starting roster too, with subbing in the Thresh God, as
Hello.
you've discovered. And I think that everyone's playing really well, so these games are really fun. And also shout out to the Nutbusters, and I think that there's more than these games showed to this team. Like I think that they do play very well, and that this doesn't really show the level of play that they can put forward. So
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think we have not seen the last of this team. But yeah, I also think Bean has also showed that you can run other rosters, but do you want to shout him out? I feel like your phrasing slightly implied that, but I do assume that is a misspeak. But
yes, Bean also dropping in huge on ADC subs and the top subs too.
Yeah.
So
all right,
flexible
well,
player may be a good pickup for another
True.
team or my team again.
Real quick, maybe last question. Do you have predictions for tomorrow? I think it's Metabusters against Andromeda.
it is.
I'm
Not
sorry,
to
no
hate
one.
on you. I'm gonna go Andromeda. For
I'm
this
sorry,
one,
no
probably
one,
2-1.
but
There's
it's
no
Andromeda.
It's not
no
lack of
faith.
belief. It's not lack of faith. I think Andromeda is improving a lot, and they have a pretty good shot. So.
In the game of rock paper shotgun, Andromeda has a fucking AR, dude. I'm sorry to say.
Thank you, Honan.
Honan is just a mad shilling. All right, on that note, I think we can end the stream. Thank you guys for your commentary, and we will see y'all tomorrow. I believe the games will be streamed by Avery and Starverse, and I will be observing and probably talking a little bit in between games to push narratives, because that's my favorites. All right, well, bye-bye, everyone, and congratulations again to Spectres. Great series from them today.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Thanks.